and see if anybody's watching. I'll just wait until somebody comes on. Oh, I see one person watching, 2 people watching. I can't see who's watching, but we have a couple people. If you're out there watching, you can make a comment and I'll see it. That would be awesome. If you feel like it. No comments? We'll start. I might wait for a few more people to join because there's a lot of people interested. Oh, now there's only one person watching. I have 3 people watching now. Is We were waiting for a bit because there is not enough people watching. But I can't see who's watching, so whoever you are, hello. I'm just going to go ahead and get started because we're hungry anyway. So what I'm going to make today is actually from a blog called Rabbit and Wolves, which is one of the best food recipe blogs I've ever found. All the recipes are super easy, and they always turn out. Like, everything I make from this website turns out. So today it is, she just posted it, creamy miso noodle soup. So that is what it's supposed to look like. So that's what we're going to make. But, and I think my boyfriend always gets frustrated because I always change the recipe, and I'm going to change this recipe too. So one of the things we have to do is get a bunch of tofu and bread it with like sesame seeds and everything. So in the recipe it says white sesame seeds and black sesame seeds, but I'm going to bread it with something else. So what I'm going to bread it with is like a mixture that I got one time at Trader Joe's in the US, and it's they call it their everything bagel mix. So it's like a shaker, and it's like the toppings from an everything bagel, and it's so friggin' good. But I haven't been to the States in a long time, and I can't go now, so I always make my own. So I usually just keep it in a little jar, and I'm just gonna make it like right in the jar. So first thing is granulated onions. So I got these at Bulk Barn, and I don't ever really like measure anything. So you have granulated onions and granulated garlic, and I usually put equal parts of this. So for this jar, I'm gonna put like 2 tablespoons of each. So I've got it like that full, 2 tablespoons of each. And then you're gonna have white sesame seeds, also from Bulk Barn, and black sesame seeds, which they do not have at Bulk Barn. So I got these at T&T, which is an Asian grocery store. Anyway, they were a little bit hard to find, but you can get them. So then I put a tablespoon of the granulated garlic and onion. And then I'm going to put probably like a little bit less of each of these, but if you do an equal amount, that's fine too. I really prefer cooking with no recipe. And if you're making comments, I have missed them all. I think I saw Sarah say hi and Crystal say hi. So if I miss your comment, like if you ask a question or something and I miss it, just ask it again, and I'll try to answer it. So now I have it in my jar, so it's not full. Don't fill it up all the way, and then just shake it up until it looks like all mixed, I guess. So there you go. So that is how you make Trader Joe's $8 bottle everything bagel mix. It's very easy. And then this stuff I put on everything, actually. If I'm making stir fry, I'll sprinkle it on top. I'll sprinkle it on top of toast. You can just have a snack and have like cucumber with it on it. So it's pretty good. So that is what I'm going to use to bread the tofu that goes on top of this soup. So now for the tofu. So I love tofu. I'll eat it right out of the package. But a lot of people and recipes will ask you to press it. So you can buy a fancy tofu press, which I got as a gift, which was really nice. Or you can actually just put it on a plate and put another plate on top and like a bunch of soup cans and press it out. And all that does is press the water out of the tofu, and then all the flavors can then soak into your tofu. But when I'm making stir fry, I just cut up the tofu and put it in. So let's get this out of here. but I don't know if you can see, but I pressed this, I probably put it in the press like, I don't know, half an hour ago, and there's at least a 1/4 cup of liquid that came out of it, so it's pretty good. So, oh, Sarah says she just uses books. Yeah, that works too. Whatever you can balance on top of it. So then I have my block of tofu, so you're going to use a whole block. And the recipe says to cut them up with a knife, obviously. So thin squares. So I'm going to go, and also we have to like eat this out of soup, and you don't want it to be huge. So Sarah is asking where to get one of these. So this one I think my mom might have ordered online, and it's called Tofu. And it's actually really awesome because it's just very simple. It has a box that you put the tofu in, and that goes inside the white box. And then this hooks up with these elastics over the side. So I really like this one. Tofu. And I don't know how much it was because it was a gift. And I see Jess is here. My friend Jess. Hi. So again, I'm going about that big. So I cut a slice and then I cut it in half. See what I did there? Okay. So I'm going to cut up the whole block or loaf of tofu here. And this I probably should have pre-prepped so it was faster, but we're all here hanging out anyway. Okay. So now I have a whole bunch of pieces like this. And now we're going to bread them and bake them. So I already have the oven preheating at 375. It'd be cool actually to try it in an air fryer because that gets stuff really nice and crispy, but my air fryer has like not a lot of surface area, so I don't think you could do like a whole lot of tofu at once. So then we have a 3-bowl system going on here. This is probably the most complex of this blog's recipes that I've seen, so it's a little bit more work. So your first bowl is going to have cornstarch. Recipe said 1 cup, but I'll just put a little bit less in, and then if I need more, I'll put it in. And the recipe also called for a little bit of salt in the cornstarch, which I left out. And then in this bowl, which I'm not spilling it. There's a 1/2 cup of veggie broth and 1/4 cup of soy sauce or tamari. So I did half soy sauce and half tamari. So if you've never heard of tamari, this is the best kind to buy. And it's gluten-free, which I didn't know soy sauce had gluten, or maybe it's just a marketing ploy, I don't know. And it just has like a way different flavor from soy sauce. It's so good. What I do sometimes with tofu, which I learned from a blog called The Happy Pear, is you just cube up tofu, cook it for a little bit, and then put some tamari on it. And then right when the tamari is like gonna absorb like all together, you throw in a bunch of nutritional yeast, and it dries it all up, and just the flavor combination is crazy. So again, 1/2 cup of veggie broth, 1/4 cup of tamari or soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of rice wine vinegar, and then 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. That's bowl number 2. And then our bowl number 3, which is empty, is gonna have a bunch of that mix that we made. I'll just put a little bit in and then add more later. Okay, so the method for this is cornstarch, then the liquid, then the crusty bits. So I'm just going to try one first because I'm sure it's going to be messy. So cornstarch, and then they specified in the recipe, make sure you dip it in the liquid so that like every dry spot gets soaked up, and then into the crunchy bits. And actually turned out really good. So that is the final product. and you put it on a cookie sheet. They say to spray the cookie sheet or use non-stick, and then I'm using this little ripped shred of, this isn't wax paper, parchment paper. Because you can actually put parchment paper in the green bin when you're done, so that's cool. So this next part, probably gonna take me a while. So I do apologize for that. So I see 11 people watching. It was really cool. This makes me feel like some sort of famous YouTuber. But how is everyone doing wherever they are with this whole sort of lockdown thing? A lot of countries are in lockdown. Are people working from home? Are people off work? How's everybody doing? I hope you're all doing well. Wherever in the world you are. Yeah, this is a little bit more labor intensive than I thought, and I've made a classic mistake. I'm mixing up my dry hand and my wet hand, which is not a good idea. So, right hand dry, left hand wet. Oh, I see my cousin Dana is there. It's nice to see you too. I haven't seen you in a long time, so it's definitely awesome that you're online with me right now. And I just mixed up my wet hand and my dry hand again. What am I doing? I don't even know. But I did warn everybody that this would not be professional. Alright, let's see if we can do this properly now. Dry hand. Dry hand. Wet. Wet. Alright, we're still in production here. We got lots of the crusty bits. So the thing that I'm realizing too about this is that I'm going through the sesame seed mix really fast. So I'm gonna fill this up. And I'm gonna switch my bowls around because that might help me. Sometimes I get frustrated with my teeny tiny kitchen, but it's nice to have the sink right beside me. So maybe I'll get 2 hands going. That's really smart. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys still watching. This is really cool. It's also cool right now eating a lot of vegan food because it lasts a lot longer in the fridge, and it's really easy to prepare super cheap recipes. I find since going vegan with my boyfriend, I think we've been over 3 years now, our grocery bill has actually gone down a little bit. So we probably, I don't know how much we spend. We spend a pretty low amount on average. So it's pretty nice for that way. And just to give you an example, this week, so on my meal plan, I think it was Monday night, just taking a look, we made a mac and cheese, a vegan mac and cheese, and the mac and cheese sauce I made had a can of chickpea water, which is called aquafaba, and it had nutritional yeast and a bit of tamari and some whole wheat to thicken it up. Whole wheat flour, I should say. And so that made a huge batch of mac and cheese. And then the next day, we had the chickpeas on some salad, some of the chickpeas on some salad. And then the third day, I made veggie wraps, and I mashed up the rest of the chickpeas with some Frank's Red Hot buffalo sauce, which is vegan, which is amazing that it's vegan. and use that on our veggie wrap. So for 1 can of chickpeas, I spread out pretty much 3 different meals. And I think actually I might still have some in the fridge that we were going to make some more salad out of. It's really nice on a salad to fill it up. If you just make salad that's like lettuce and cucumber and tomato, it can get pretty boring. So if you just throw some chickpeas on, it's really good. Just make sure you rinse the chickpeas really well. Alright, so we're still going at it here, but I am running out of room on my parchment paper. I was trying to get some parchment paper at Costco, but I just thought it would be prudent not to go to Costco right now. I think I drove by Costco the other day and there was a lineup to go in, which is valid, but it means I don't have any parchment paper left. Oh, Sarah's asking if we're gonna do our garden. So we do have some stuff started inside, but we might actually be moving. So I don't know what we're gonna start because then we can't take it with us. But right now we have some dill going and we have a regrown celery going. I'm gonna start some basil soon. I'm never really good at basil. I don't know why, it just won't grow right for me. And I have some green onions as well. So I have a full tray, so I'm actually just gonna leave this little bit of tofu for another meal. Alright, so that part took a little bit longer than I wanted to, and it was pretty messy, but I think that's fine. So I'm going to move all this junk over here. Right. I'll clean that in a little bit. So then what we're going to do is put this tofu that is all nice and breaded and crustified. That's going to go in an oven, which is 375 for, you're going to put it in 15 minutes and flip it at 15 minutes and do another 15 minutes, so 30 minutes total. And basically that would give you enough time to make the soup. So we'll put it in, I don't know if we'll be here for 30 more minutes, but I'll get it going. And we'll set our timer. Awesome. And I just see my friend Barb logged in, so that's cool. Hi, Barb. I don't think she can stick around too much, but that is cool. You can come and go. And then actually I'm going to save this video on my Facebook page so that you can watch it later. So I'm just going to clean this up a bit because it's really grody right now. That's another thing about having a small kitchen is it's really fast to clean. Cool. So now we're going to move on to the soup. So, make the soup. So I have a large pot over here, which maybe this, that's fine over there. So in that, we're going to add some sesame oil, which you can get in a big or little bottle. This is the kind I like. And if you don't want to use so much oil, you can probably just cook the veggies in water. So I'm just going to put a little bit actually, because sesame oil is really strong, so we don't need that much. And then the recipe calls for 10 ounces of baby Bella tomatoes, which I don't know exactly what that is. And I had normal, not tomatoes, did I say tomatoes? Mushrooms. So baby Bella mushrooms. But basically any mushroom probably would work. If you had like a mix of mushrooms with like a bit of portobello mushrooms, that would actually probably be delicious. I see Connie's here with her kids. Hi guys. And Dana's asking what I'm making again. So what I'm making is a creamy miso soup from the blog Rabbit and Wolves, which is the best blog. So anyway, we needed 10 ounces. I don't really know what 10 ounces is, and I didn't feel like measuring it, so I made a lot of mushrooms. But the good thing is they'll cook down. So I'm going to turn probably like on medium, so we're gonna cook them down. Ooh. So while that's preheating, I didn't realize I needed garlic. So that is a tragedy because garlic, I find garlic annoying to chop up. Like, I love fresh garlic. I don't think I would use like jarred garlic anymore. The stuff that comes in oil, I just don't think I would use that anymore. But I've purchased like a million different sort of like kitchen gadgets to try to make fresh garlic easier, and it's just not easier. There's no way around it. So it says 4 cloves, and these are gigantic, really gigantic. So that's probably more than 4 cloves because these are huge. I always put more garlic in as a like principle, but I see someone named Lily here. Hi. Hi, Lily. Anyway, doing this garlic will kill some time for us. So Dana has some awesome information. So Dana said baby bellas are cremini mushrooms, which are young portobellos. Oh, that's so cool. And Sarah is mentioning she hasn't been able to get garlic lately. Do you think that's because people are, like, there's a shortage right now because of what's going on, or just in general? I wonder. But good garlic is hard to find. Like, good Canadian garlic is hard to find. And Frank and I watched a Netflix documentary. It was one of the Rotten series, which is a really interesting documentary series to watch about the food that we eat. Obviously, a lot of it had to do with meat, which I don't think we should be eating anyway. The thing they went over on garlic is it's really crazy. So a lot of the pre-peeled garlic that you find in a jar comes from overseas, comes from China. And the documentary that we watched mentioned that a lot of those companies actually use prison labor to peel and chop up the garlic, or at least peel it, I would guess. And it was just crazy, the information we learned about that. So and then also just the whole like nature of garlic here in Canada is a bit crazy because of so much garlic coming in from overseas that it kind of killed the market for local garlic, which is why when you go to like farmers markets or whatever, Canadian like fresh kind of garlic is really expensive. So anyway, you could lose yourself in different documentaries learning about food and stuff like that, but it really need to really look into the food that you're buying. And for me, it's really important to look into the meat that we buy because just the health of it, the nature of how the animals are treated, like what actually ends up in the finished product, it's all pretty disgusting. So I'm just going to, that oil is getting a bit too hot, so I'm actually going to turn that down a bit. I think I talked too much and it got too hot. Yeah, Frank's mentioning that last year, I think we may have forgotten, but we try to plant garlic every year, but we don't seem to plant enough. But planting garlic is really awesome because you can just plant it in the fall. You just break apart one of, maybe. I don't know, folks. Well, we're gonna try. Now my camera holder is messed up. I don't know. My phone is overheating. We'll see what happens. I've started the mushrooms cooking. So they just need to cook down until they're brown a little bit. So we'll see how that works. I see Candace is back. Thank you for finding me. My phone has been overheating, so we'll see how long I can last. I don't know. So we're adding them. We added the mushrooms. Now I'm gonna add the garlic. Hi Don, thanks for coming back. Garlic, and then we need 4 green onions. So actually, I'm using my grown green onions. So when you have green onions and you get down to the end, just stick them in some soil and water them, and then you can use them. So for now, I'm actually just going to use scissors. I'm going to snip them off. And sorry everybody for my video being lost. My phone overheated. So there go my scissors. So again, we've got mushrooms and garlic going in our pot. And I'm going to chop some green onions. So you can chop them really small, or if you chop them on the diagonal, nice big chunks are nice too. So when you regrow your onions, they come back actually a little bit thinner. So you probably, if you do that, you're probably going to need more than 4. You're going to need like 6 or 7. So those are going in. Boom. I'm usually a lot cleaner when I cook. But you can't see my messy kitchen, so it doesn't matter. Okay. So we got our onions cooked down, our garlic, and our mushrooms. So the next thing is miso paste, which is the whole point of the soup, is creamy miso soup. And I think I got this miso paste at Walmart. And sometimes it's on the dry rack, like not in the refrigerated section, and sometimes it is in the refrigerated section. But you can get white miso paste. And then if you go to an Asian grocery store, there's probably like 50 million kinds of miso. That might be an exaggeration. So this recipe is 3 tablespoons. And I realized my tablespoon fell on the floor, so I'm going to wash it. Anyway, thanks for anyone who made it back to my page. You see, Data just came back. Yay! I had some technical difficulties, Dana. My phone overheated. So 3 tablespoons of miso paste. And now I've kind of turned it down, the heat down to like below medium. So we got 3 tablespoons. And that's our tofu, which I'll get in a second. I don't think it'll really burn, so it should be fine. And if you don't make it like the full 30 minutes with your tofu, you can eat it raw. So if your soup's done before 30 minutes, then just throw it in. So next we're adding 6 cups of veggie broth. And I had thought to use my own homemade veggie broth, but I didn't take it out of the freezer soon enough, so I had to make powdered veggie broth. So I have 6 cups of veggie broth. And then you're going to put in a can of coconut milk, which makes it creamy. So if anyone, it was Dana that reminded me last time, so if anyone new is coming on, we're making creamy miso noodle soup from a blog called Rabbit and Wolves. So that whole can goes in. And we're going to add in more rice wine vinegar, soy sauce, and it calls for agave, which is a sweetener, which I don't usually put Usually when stuff has sugar or whatever, I usually put a little bit less, but I'm going to put some in this recipe. And we only need 1 teaspoon each of the soy sauce. I'm going to use tamari and the rice wine vinegar. Tamari and rice wine vinegar are pretty powerful flavors, so you don't need a lot. One teaspoon, not tablespoon, I meant teaspoon. And you can always add more in the end if you think the seasoning needs a bit more. So, broth, coconut milk, rice wine vinegar, and tamari, that's in there, and all the veggies and stuff. And so instead of agave, I think I'm just going to put a teeny tiny bit of white regular sugar in it. So the big thing, if you're new to like cooking vegan food or food in general, basically you want to make sure any dish that you make has all the different flavors in it. So you want a bit of sweet, you want a bit of spicy, you want a bit of savory, which is an umami flavor. Now I'm losing it. Spicy, you want all the different flavors in your meal so that you have this like complete flavor. So I'm gonna go with like 1 teaspoon of sugar. If it's not like the right composition, when you're done you can add more. So there we go. So that I'm gonna actually bring the temperature up and let it sort of cook. And then we're going to check on our tofu patties. So, let me do this in a non-stupid way, but I want to show you guys what that looks like. So they're actually, I think maybe our oven is a bit hot because they're actually pretty crispy already. So we're just going to flip them over without burning yourself. Which I always seem to hurt myself when I'm cooking. But I have not cut myself in this session, which is amazing. Okay. So that's going to go back in it. So the recipe says 15 minutes flip and 15 minutes. Oh, Candace knows. Candace knows that I always hurt myself cooking. So let's put a timer on. So I'm actually just going to do 10 minutes because those are pretty well cooked. And so everything is there. So basically what we're going to do now, which I probably won't run the video for the full 15 minutes, but you're going to let the soup simmer and cook until the tofu little pads or patties are finished and nice and crispy. And then you can do udon noodles, which are like the nice thick round Asian noodles, and you put those in sort of earlier on before you're done because they'll cook longer. But I am going to use some ramen noodles that I bought, and if you live near a T&T grocery store in the Toronto area, they're so awesome. So I got these. It's like a whole pack of plain ramen noodles with no flavorings or packaging, and this is actually whole wheat ramen noodles, and they're awesome. So they come in little bricks like this. And basically what you're going to do is bring the soup close to a boil near when the tofu is done, so you don't need it high heat before then. And then the package, I think, takes 3 or 4 minutes for the ramen noodles to cook. So you can put them right in the soup if you're going to eat all the soup at once. But what we're going to do, because there is only 2 of us eating right now, I'll probably put the ramen noodles like right in one of our big white bowls, and then put the really hot soup on it and just let it sit for a couple of minutes until it's soft. because if you put the noodles in for too long, it'll just get soggy and gross. So that is it, folks. And if you are still here after all of the technical glitches, thank you. So this, again, I'll say the name again because I really love this blog, and I think Dana knows it as well. It's called Rabbits and Wolves, and what we made today was her creamy miso noodle soup, which that is her beautiful Instagram-y photo. Mine is not going to look like that. And Dana's saying, have I tried soba noodles yet? And yeah, I usually buy TNT soba noodles that come in a big pack. And actually, the TNT soba noodles are sold at No Frills, which is weird, but you can get it. And I think Frank just posted the recipe in the comments, which is so awesome. Thank you, Frank. But yeah, that's it. So thank you so much for watching. This was really cool to have like even 12 people watching. It was so much fun. If you found your way to this video and you don't know already, I have a Facebook page which I would love some likes on, or you can share it. I post usually some pretty cool photos, so that's Plant Life Canada on Facebook. I also have an Instagram, which I probably post more often on, which is also at the Plant Life Canada. And I have a YouTube channel that only has a handful of videos, but I'm working on them. So that's something you could also check out as well. And if you would like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would really love it. But for now, I'll say goodbye. And next time I have a live video, I will not let my phone overheat and mess things up. So everybody have a good one. Stay safe. Don't touch your face like I just did. And wash your hands. Bye.